Hello and welcome to the video. This is a question that I got regarding this MT12 radio here. This is from this gentleman called Exalted RC. He's asking about, can you kind of set up kind of an automated launch for something like a drag racer? So you can just kind of hit a combination of buttons, maybe have the throttle at 100% and hit another button and it kind of goes through an automated launch sequence. This has been one that I've been working on over Christmas, ever since this person asked me the question, and I think I've finally figured it out. It might not be completely perfect, but I think hopefully this will give you a start for 10. So this is a pretty standard setup the way I've got it set up. We have steering on channel 2 and we have the throttle on channel 1 working as you would expect. However, I've got it set up so that if I press the button here at the bottom, this is a momentary switch here at the back. If I press that and pull the trigger, it goes to 25, 70 and then to 100, and then I have control of the throttle normally. So this is hopefully pretty much exactly what Exalted RC was talking about. Now there are a couple of places in EdgeTX where you can set things like a timer. There's this idea of drive modes, which I'm not using here, but you have things like fade in and fade out. I originally tried it with these and kind of wasn't getting anywhere very quickly. You also have the ability to fade in specific things. So for example, in this one, and we'll get back to this in a moment, I've actually got on one of these a fade in and fade out. So it actually a slow up and a slow down, just to make those new values kind of smooth in and out, because it's a throttle and that's what you were asking for. That can probably down to 1 second actually, just to make it easier. But that basically means that this particular setting for the throttle is going to come in with a second to transition from the other one and vice versa. But the way that we've done this, or I've done this, should I say, because I've just been playing with it whenever I had a flash of inspiration, is what I've done is I've set up 3 logical switches. The first one is there to detect when the throttle is above 5 or the throttle has been pulled, and SD, which is this one at the back, is together. So what that does, don't worry about the other 2 for the moment. If I hold this button at the bottom and then pull the throttle, logical switch 1 comes on until I let go. So this is also kind of a safety feature. The launch, it only works while you're holding the button in. So hold the button in, pull the trigger, we see logical switch 1 comes on, then 2 and 3 happen. Now logical switches 2 and 3 are part of the magic. They are the 2 things that are kind of timing what's going on. So let's have a look at them. So logical switch 2 is a sticky of logical switch 1. So when logical switch 1 comes on, it kind of sticks it. It's only there while logical switch 1 is in place. Again, that's kind of a safety thing. So if you let go of the temporary, the momentary switch, then it'll kind of cancel it if it kind of launches in the wrong direction. And the duration is 1 second. So that's going to give me 1 second. So we can see that here. So if I, again, hold the momentary button, pull the trigger, L2 comes on for a second and it goes on to L3. How have I done that? Well, in L3, what we can do is we can still have a sticky for L1. This time, again, still going to be active when the first logical switch is there, i.e. the throttle has been pulled and the momentary switch is pushed down. This time we have a delay of a second and a duration of a second. So because of the delay, it's going to come on after the first one. And that means we have this kind of cascading action where if I press the momentary switch, pull the trigger, then logical switch comes on straight away, and then that triggers logical switch 2, then logical switch 3. So that allows us to have the timings, and we can change the timings by changing the delay and how long those things are active to tweak the launch that we actually want. So how are you using those logical switches? Well, all I've done is I've set up 3 settings for the throttle. The first one is a standard throttle setting, so nothing particularly clever about that. However, the next one, what I've done is I've set it so that the value is coming from max. The amount of max is 25%, so that's going to give me 25% throttle, and it is going to come on when logical switch 2 is active. So when that initial logical switch 2 comes on, that comes on immediately and is on for a second, it's going to push the throttle up to 25. However, the other big thing I've done here, I've set the multiplex to replace. So when this line is active, it's going to replace the basic throttle input. So it's going to be this one instead. And then the only other thing I've done is for the next one, for the 70%, it looks very similar. I'm using max as the value, 70% of that value. However, the only extra thing I've done in here, as well as having replace, so again it replaces the throttle channel, I have then set it so that there's a slow up and a slow down, and that is what gives a slightly softer transition from the 25 to the 70 to the 100. This is going to fade in and fade out, essentially giving us that smooth way of doing it. We could have done it with curves or something like that, but actually this, from the playing that I've done over the past 4 days, seems to be the way that the magical combo on this particular version of EdgeTX. So that's how that works. So if we just see that in action, if I move out the way, so by default, channel 1 is a normal throttle. However, if I press and hold that momentary switch again here on the bottom and pull the trigger, you'll see that because the logical switches 2 and 3 will come in, they will kind of immediately put it to 25 then 70. So we press the button, pull the trigger, 25 to 70, and then back to the 100. And basically that's my normal channel that I've got here. So what does that actually look like? If we just come out of all of this, again, we're looking at the main throttle. If I don't have the momentary switch pressed, throttle works as expected, so I can kind of get the vehicle up to the start line and get it all lined up. When I'm ready to launch, I press and hold the momentary switch, wait for the green light and push the throttle back, and it goes through the timing stuff automatically. I let go of that temporary switch, and then I've got control of the throttle to kind of bring it back from the end of the run and drive it back to my feet. So hopefully that is going to be useful for you, Exalted RC. That's the way it kind of works on here. You can absolutely set it up. The trick is to use logical switches and the timers in those logical switches to kind of turn things on and off. And then the other thing that I found was really useful was being able to, on the middle setting, is to have a nice slow up and slow down, and that helped the transitions between all the different values so that it wasn't just jumping from one throttle value to another, which would probably make the dragster lose traction. Thank you for watching the video. If you watch my videos and find them useful, then please take a moment to hit the like and subscribe button. It helps the channel a lot. If you really like what I'm doing here, you can become a Patreon and support the time I spend helping others and get access to lots of exclusive benefits. Link is in the video description. Remember that all the videos on the channel are organized into playlists, so you can easily use those playlists to find all the videos on a subject that you are interested in. Add Painless 360 to your searches on Google and YouTube, and it'll help you find my content for any particular topic. Thanks again for watching, and as always, happy flying.